Yes, my friends, this is really happening. The market is shifting, the economy is shifting, and here in Southern California, it is really raining. So welcome, good morning. Welcome to this special episode of Kevin at 7. Today we're going to talk about what to do if your business has gone backwards. Because over the last several months, many of your businesses have. And real estate agents all across the country and entrepreneurs all across the country over the last several months. For some of you, ever since COVID, business has been a struggle. Business has gone backwards. In the real estate industry, the big hit has come with interest rates going through the roof, and they're still going to go higher. Okay, if they have broken through the glass ceiling of the roof, they are going higher. And what do you do about it? How do you survive? Now, I want to just talk about how do you deal with it here in your head, and then how do you deal with it tactically when your business has gone backwards? Because you can do this. You can adjust, you can adapt, and you can win. But can you take the punch? Can you take the punch? I want to read to you a quote from an entrepreneur whose business has gone backwards this year. Okay? This is somebody whose business has gone backwards. Hang on. Let me get back to it. This is somebody whose business has gone backwards dramatically this year. And this is what he said in an interview recently. He said, I'm looking for an article. I'm going to share with you the article here in just a second, but I want you guys to see this because this is incredibly important that you understand what is going on. I can't find it yet. Here it is. Okay, this is what this entrepreneur has said. His business has gone backwards. His business has gone backwards by like 30 or 40, like 60 or 70%. Well, I don't know what is going on, but we are getting a rainstorm like I'm not used to at our house. Okay, so here's the storm. He said, it's almost like every day you wake up and you're punched in the stomach. Now here's the question. Good morning, everybody. Welcome as you come on. Post where you are, but here's my question for you. Can you relate to this? If you have felt this way, just type in the comments, just say, that's me. Here's the question. Here's the quote. It's almost like every day you wake up and you're punched in the stomach. That's what is happening with the business shift. Now the question is, how can you handle it? What do you do about it? Okay, if you're gonna relate to this, type in the comments, that's me. You guys here, welcome, good morning. Good to see you guys. I'm not seeing comments. Let me see if I got everything turned right. Now, here's the question. What do you do when that happens? It's almost like you wake up every day. It's almost like every day you wake up and you're punched in the stomach. You wake up in the morning, look at my phone, get like a million messages. It's usually not good. Guess who said that? On a podcast with Joe Rogan, that was an interview 2 months ago with Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg this year has lost over $100 billion of net worth. Just soak on that for a second. What would it do for you if you lost $100,000 right now? Okay? What would happen? What would you do if you lost $100,000 right now? What would you do? Now, some of you are going, I don't have $100,000 to lose. Okay, what would you do if you lost $10,000 right now? Whatever the number is, what would you take if you had 2/3 of your net worth wiped out? What would you do? Now, I get that comparing yourself to Mark Zuckerberg is you're like, well, but it's not even the same. Of course, it's not the same. His is bigger. What would you do? Because many of you, that has happened to you this year, is you have got the gut punch of a market shift, of interest rates going through the roof, of buyers backing out, of sellers backing out, of transactions falling apart. You have got that punch in the gut of your business going backwards. And the question is, what do you do in that situation? I'm going to share with you today the strategy for what you must do to recover and to rise in the middle of that kind of a catastrophe. Now, this is what's happened to Mark Zuckerberg. Facebook, as you know, Facebook was kind of like, it became old school, right? Facebook was like, there was one time when Facebook was the hottest business in the world. It was the hottest thing on the planet. Everybody was getting into Facebook. But guys, you realize that was like 2 decades ago, right? I mean, it was like forever ago. Facebook has gotten old. Now, this just goes to show that just because a business can be dominant in its space one day does not mean it's going to be dominant forever. So if you think what you've been doing and what your real estate business has been good and you've been working good and your business has I got this dialed in, I got this figured out. Guys, the world is constantly changing. The world is constantly changing. If you don't change to adjust, you are going to get wiped out. If Facebook knew that if they did not adapt and adjust, they were going to get wiped out. So Mark Zuckerberg said, okay, I'm going to recreate us. So he changed everything from Facebook to metaverse. Now, I don't really pay that much attention to it. I really don't follow it that much. But I was seeing this article in Yahoo Finance, and this is the article. While chasing the metaverse, you guys see that? While chasing the metaverse. Is it backwards for you guys? I don't know, maybe backwards for you guys. While chasing the metaverse, Mark Zuckerberg's personal fortune has dropped by over $100 billion. Now, if I remember correctly, they said like Facebook has lost about $800 billion in value this year. $800 billion. That's kind of a blow, would you not say? Question is, what do you do about it? Okay, his net worth has gone from an estimated peak last September 2021 of $140 billion. They said in the past month, his net worth plunged from $51.2 billion to $38.2 billion. So he's gone from $140 billion last September in personal net worth to now $38 billion, $38.2 billion. It's like every day getting punched in the gut. Now, if you have been there, give this video a thumbs up or type in the comment. Yep, been there. Now, the question is, what do you do when you go there? What will Mark Zuckerberg do now? Is he going to quit? Is he going to give up? Is he going to run and hide? Or is he going to shift? Now, here's what he has done. He saw this coming, and so he started switching. I'm not endorsing Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not particularly a fan of Mark Zuckerberg, but I am a student of what high achievers do and what they have done. I'm very interested to see how is he going to come back from this. Because I remember another great iconic entrepreneur of my generation, of my lifetime, named Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs built one of the largest, most successful, most profitable companies in the world named Apple. He built it from scratch, starting in his garage with a friend, and they built an empire. And that empire dominated the world. He was the founder. He was the CEO. He had built this multi-billion-dollar multinational corporation that dominated the world, that changed civilization as we know it today. And then he got fired. He got completely wiped out, booted, kicked out. Everything you built, you just had taken away from you. And what did he do? Run and hide, curl up in a ball, retreat, surrender, give up, go get a job? No, he went back, he started over. He rebuilt. He built something else from scratch and built another empire. And then all of a sudden they're bringing him back and saying, okay, we need you back. Why? Because you were more valuable and more important to us than we thought. So he was proven right. But what happened was, the key was that when he got punched in the gut and taken down and he didn't quit. He didn't give up. So what did he do that you must do? What must Mark Zuckerberg do that you also must do in your life and in your business? So I'm going to give you 3 steps. Number 1 is you just have to assess. Stop panicking, stop freaking out, and simply sit down and get with yourself and look around and going like, okay, where am I? Where am I in my business? Where am I in my finances? Where am I in the market? Where am I right now? And just assess, what am I doing? What's working? What's not working? What's the factors that I can't control? What are the factors that I can control? So this is step number 1, is assess. Can somebody type in the comments, number 1, assess? I'm not seeing hardly any comments. Michael, good morning. Good to see you. Welcome. Can somebody type it in there? Good morning, Brittany Booker. Good to see you. Number 1, not access, assess. A-S-S, starts with ass. Assess, A-S-S-E-S-S. This is the number 1 thing you got to do. Guys, and you got to do this during wartime. Like yesterday, I did on my Kevin to 7 yesterday. I talked about this is wartime. We are in a wartime economy where things are tough. Thank you, Amy Marburger. Good to see you. Number 1, assess. You have to take stock of where you are and do it honestly. But if you just immediately panic and freak out and go like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. I get it. Okay, so you don't know what to do. Here's the first thing you got to do right now. That's right. That's right. It is wartime. The first thing you have to do is you have to pull back. You are on this. You're probably an entrepreneur. Meaning, if you're a real estate agent, business owner, you are here and going like, okay, it's my business. So what do I have to do? I have to get off the front battle lines for the moment, and I have to get into the general's tent, into the war room, and you have to look at the situation and say, where are we? What are our allies? What are our threats? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? Okay, I think this is the SWOT thing. Strengths, weaknesses, allies, and threats. What's going on? Where are we? Get a realistic assessment of what it is, where you are right now in the battle, right now in your business, and what's working, what's not working. And then number two. So number one is assess. Number two, somebody type in the chat. Number two is adjust. Adjust. Now, Gary Keller calls this shift. Pivot. This is another word you hear a lot used these days. Charles Darwin called it adapt. The survival of the fittest. He said the ones who survive is not the ones who are the biggest and the strongest. It is the ones who can most quickly and best adapt. Thank you guys for typing it in. Thank you, Michael. Number two is adjust. You have to assess and then you have to adjust. You got to look at it and go like, okay, how do I adapt? Here's where I am. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what's working. Here's what's not working. Here's what's happening. Here's what I can control. Here's what I can't control. Now, how do I adjust? How do I adjust? Okay. Now, frankly, assessing and adjusting, this is part of what I do as a coach, is realizing, you know what? I need somebody else's eyeballs on this. When you can get a third-party perspective in your business, in your things that have a third-party perspective, a different set of eyes on it makes all the difference in the world. By the way, today I'm doing my last masterclass of before Thanksgiving, free masterclass today. You can go to yesmasters.com and register for it. It starts at 10 a.m. this morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And I'm going to do a masterclass on dominating in today's market. How do you dominate in today's real estate market? Okay, this is a training I'm going to be doing free. It starts at 10 a.m. this morning. Go to yesmasters.com. You can register for that. If you can't be there live, you can go ahead and register for it right now, and then you can join me on the replay. We'll be sending out a replay for those that are registered only. Okay, so you can go do that, because I'm going to be talking about the exact strategies, exactly what you got to do right now. You've got to assess. We're going to be talking about how do you adjust in this market? What adjustments do I need to make? Okay, so that's number two. What adjustments, what do I need to start doing that I'm not doing? What am I doing that's working I need to do more of, or I got to get better at? What am I doing that's not working that I've just got to get better at? Or is it something I have to eliminate? Where do I need to make cuts? Where do I need to make additions? Where do I need to invest in myself? Where do I need to invest in my business? But you don't do this from panic. You do this from a place where you sit down and you assess. You get your head together, you get your head right. And again, this is why having a coach is so valuable. And then you adjust. Number three, type it in the chat, in the comments. Number three is act. You have to then take action. You have to 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 take action. You got to implement. You got to go. You cannot sit in the general's tent and pray that the enemy is going to surrender. Pray that the storm is going to pass. This is not a time to go into this, I'm going to write it out strategy. Okay? This is not a time to write it out. You will starve before you write out this storm. Because this shift is what's happening in the real estate market right now, this storm that is here, it is not going to go away fast. And all the stuff that's happening in the economy, economic problems, they're not going to go away fast. So there's going to be entrepreneurs that are going to be dying. How do you survive and then thrive? How do you rise through this? Number one, you got to sit back and look, assess. Then you have to adjust, and then you have to take action. Now, as you're taking action, here is the fourth thing that you can never forget. And you have to do this over and over and over and over again. And that is number four, is you have to aim. So type it in the comments. Number four, aim. You got to aim for what you want. Aim for what you want. Survival is not the goal. Okay? Survival, thank you, Brittany. Survival has never been, never will be the goal. The goal maybe has been, but now for you, for me, survival is not the goal. Guys, the goal is not to stay alive and keep your lights on. The goal is to rise. The goal is to win. The goal is to have the lifestyle of your dreams. So even in the storm, even in the turmoil, even as your business is taking a gut punch, you have to still look and say, that's where I'm going. This is where I'm going. It may be harder than I thought. It may take longer than I thought, but I am not surrendering and I am not retreating. I will rise. So I assess, I adjust, I go into action, and I keep aiming. I renew my aim. I look back and say, but this is where I'm going. One step at a time, one day at a time, but I never lose sight of the goal. Okay, now I call this the achievement vortex. Okay, it always starts at the very beginning with you got to first take aim. You got to get clear about what you want, aim, and then you take action. What you guys have already been doing, whatever you're doing right now, I'm assuming you're already in the game. You're already in action. You're already doing something. But when it's not working, or when you get the gut punch, or when your net worth drops by 70%, like it's done from Mark Zuckerberg, it's time you gotta take a time to assess and then adjust. And then you continue to take action. But paralysis, overwhelm, these are not words. These are emotional states of paralysis. And when you're sitting there like a deer in the headlights, looking, I can't believe what's happening in the market. Oh no, I just lost another deal. Oh no, this buyer backed out. You got to be willing and able to rapidly and radically accept reality. Okay? Maybe this should even be precursor to assess, is you have to accept reality. Rapidly and radically. Accept. In fact, can somebody type this in? This is powerful. This is something you need. This is like a principle for life, especially in wartime like this. Rapidly and radically accept reality. Can you do that? Can you rapidly and radically accept reality? And then once you've accepted it, you can go, okay, this is the truth. This is what's going on. Okay, are you really think about buyers and sellers? I'm not sure what that exactly means. Thank you, Brittany. Rapidly and radically accept reality. What's up, Matthew from New Mexico? Good to see you. So I just made a question here. Are you really think about buyers and sellers? So Takuya, I have no idea what that means. Okay, but guys, right now, here's what you got to do. You got to rapidly and radically accept reality. And then you got to be willing to assess, adjust, take action, and keep aiming for what you want. Guys, this is what Mark Zuckerberg's got to do right now. He's lost $100 billion in net worth this year. 100 personal net worth. What's he got to do? He's got to assess, which he's been doing, I'm sure. He's got to adjust, which he's been doing, I'm sure. And by the way, when he started making the adjustment, guess what it did? It got worse. When he started going from Facebook and rebranding everything to Metaverse as the parent company and all that, I don't even know how it's all structured, but however it's structured, he's already been assessing and adjusting. And guess what? He kept going backwards. This is going to happen. Guys, it takes time to turn a ship. Now, most of you are lucky to have your ship smaller than Mark Zuckerberg's ship, but the same principle applies. And you got to know that when you assess and you adjust and you start taking action, it may not turn immediately. Do you have the grit? Do you have the perseverance? Do you have the tenacity? Do you have the ruthless commitment to go all in all the time, every day until you win? Because right now, my friend, that is what it takes. Now, if you want to join me for my last free masterclass today on how to dominate in today's market, go to yesmasters.com. There on the homepage is the link to register. The masterclass starts today at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to be live for an hour and a half, 2 hours to help you change and adjust and know exactly what's happening and what to do in today's shifting market. Okay, now I'm going to just say, I meant their profits. Are you really think about buyers and sellers and their profits? I'm not sure what you're asking. If you're representing clients, you think about what's in their best interest. So if you're working with a buyer, you got to think about what's best for them. If you're working with a seller, you got to think about what's best for them. Okay. And what is the moving part for sellers and buyers right now, guys, is all motivation. If they need and want to buy a house and they're committed to buy a house, they're motivated to buy a house, you help them and you can help them. And right now they can get better deals than they've been able to get for the last 2 or 3, 4 years. Interest rates are higher, but they can get better deals and you can negotiate for them. You can buy down interest rates. There's a whole lot of things you can do to help them win. And the reality is if they wait, it could be worse because interest rates are probably going to keep going up. Okay. Prices are going to come down, but as interest rates go up, it is probably going to be a break-even proposition. Okay. And the good news is if interest rates go down or when they do go down, whether it's a year from now or 5 years from now, they can refinance. Okay, so if they get in now and it goes up to 8, 9, 10%, which is very possible. I know you're not thinking that's going to happen, but you weren't thinking it was going to 7. And I've been talking about this now for months, that interest rates are going to keep going up. Okay, why? Because historically, this is what happens, and especially when inflation is created the way it's been created over the last 18 months, we are now in an inflationary cycle. The only way to stop it is the Feds are raising interest rates. That's what they got to do, try to control inflation. And when they do that, that drives interest rates up. This is not going to shift fast. Okay, so if they want to buy you home, if somebody's ready to sell, now's a great time to sell. Sell while the market is still where it is, because prices, the next thing to drop are prices. And when prices start dropping, sellers are going to lose equity. So if you got somebody that's thinking about selling and they want to get the most money out, now is the time to do it. If they want to wait 6 months, fine, they can wait 6 months. It's all motivation. If they wait 6 months, they're probably going to sell it for less. Just like they did 4 or 5 months ago or 3 months ago, when they go like, yeah, we're taking a house off the market because it's kind of things are slowing down and we're going to wait it out. This is not a storm, you wait it out. Okay? So, and KM Smith says, yes, not now. Oh, now is the time to sell. He says not is the time to sell. I think now is the time to sell is what you meant. And I agree. If they want to sell, if they want to sell in the next year or two, this is the time. Okay. If what we've seen the last time we had a housing downturn, housing price downturns are not short-lived. They tend to historically, they're long-term downturns. So when prices start dropping, you go back to 2006, prices peaked in 2006. Prices bottomed in 2012, 6 years. So when the market turned in 2006, people think the market turned in 2008. No, the market tanked in 2008. That was when we all saw the collapse. But housing prices peaked in 2006 and they dropped all the way through 2007 into 2008, and then the bottom fell out. But by the time people were like, oh no, we got to sell the house, this is not going to get better, this is not going to be okay, things are not going to recover, it was too late. And that's when everybody took a beating. Okay, so if somebody's thinking about selling, they're like trying to time the market, it's now. All right, guys, with that, you got to take a punch right now and be willing to rise through the pain. You can do it. Go to, join me today for my masterclass. Go to yesmasters.com, register for the masterclass. I'll see you guys there. Have a great day, everybody. Play to win and always expect yes.